Guys, it's me, Stark, and I'm here to discuss a possible counter to the Phosphor rushes or to the Phosphor strategies. As you can see, this game is being played here between Red Phosphorus and Stone Please. Phosphor, who's known for his very innovative and creative fast castle strategies, especially the ones with unique units, and also the ones with other units such as the Fire Lancer, Siege from the Shoe, and even Grenadiers. Stone Please already started here by taking his boar very early on. I think that there's a lot of value to that because basically he's making sure that Phosphor was not gonna steal or at least take all of his boars. So he's already anticipating his boar. This is one of the things that he's already doing to leverage over Phosphorus. But honestly, that's actually a quite good practice against any kind of lamer opponent. As in the ranked quill, you might ended up finding guys that will always try to lame a boar or another one and things like this. Not only that, but the Stone Police is going to use everything he has in order to punish Phosphorus here. For example, he just found Phosphorus boar, uh, and he is now stealing the boar. So this is another thing that you can try to do to cripple fast castle strategies, basically getting them out of some of their most important resources. By taking down this boar here, he's basically telling Phosphorus, hey, there's like 400 food that you are not gonna have access to. So honestly, this is actually a good practice, but I do not think that this is exactly the counter to the strategies, because of course there are answers to that. For example, on this game, Phosphorus ended up taking Stone's Place boar and is just walking around with it. I got actually confused here. Why not just trying to take this boar back to your base? Perhaps he thought that he didn't need that and he's going for other stuffs. So with this board chapter discussed, let's talk about Feudal Age and the possible counters. As you can see, Phosphorus is already setting up his Dark Age. He's forcing himself to add a few extra walls here. He is playing against Bulgarian and he did spot a barracks, so he is already expecting for Stone Please to actually play here using men-at-arms from the Bulgarians. For that reason, he is walling, and most likely he is going to expect Stone Please to play with men-at-arm and archers or men-at-arm and towers. And let's take a look at what Stone Please is about to do. Well, exactly what we did expect from him. He's sending 4 villagers forward. Most likely he's coming forward in order to control the map and punish Phosphorus here with towers. And he has also 2 militias, which will actually allow him to go for early men-at-arms here and try to punish his opponent. He went for a drush, so he's still on population 22. So different from most guys that is just trying to go for like fast castles, his answers here to Phosphorus is to actually fight during the Feudal Age. He's already pressuring Phosphorus with his scout and man-at-arm, bringing in some villagers to make a tower, and honestly that's a very annoying tower because it will just disrupt the stone from being collected. Still, credits to Phosphorus from being able to evade this situation, losing only a single villager. Could be 0, or could be even more. With that said, we can see now 4 men-at-arms trying to punish Phosphorus, and he is already playing with like 5 guys on the stone. So Stone Please is going for a Revi men-at-arm and tower strategy. A very old one, but still very crafty strategy that allows a player to put some early pressure on his opponent and then keep adding towers to block his resources. This tower blocks the gold. This second tower is about to block the access that Phosphor has to the wood. So now this lumber camp is no more, this mining camp is no more, and he's basically controlling most of these areas there. Now there he comes with yet a 3rd tower here, which will actually try to deny or at least disrupt some of the stone from being collected. So as you can see, going for men-at-arm and towers will provide this player a great map control, and with all this map control he has, with all this knowledge about the map, and with all the pressure that he's applying to Phosphorus, he won't be able to place a castle on his face. So that is already a good thing. By going aggressive on Feudal Age, especially with like men-at-arm and towers, you are actually forcing Phosphorus to stay on his own base. I have seen players trying to go for men-at-arm and archers, but there's actually a small problem to that. archers can be actually a lot cheaper than going for the towers, but they are also more fragile. If you actually mismicro your archers, they can actually get caught by villagers, but honestly, even if you micro or counter your archers pretty well, once you are in the castle age, the first 2 or 3 unique units from Phosphorus will actually be able to take you down. He's now waiting for Phosphorus to place his castle. He just saw that Phosphorus bring everyone back, so he is assuming that Phosphorus already has the stone to go for a castle. Stone Please is still moving here with his men-at-arms, and meanwhile on his base, look what he's doing. Double bit X, horse collar. He took away his villagers from the stone after doing his initial towers, and he's actually going for some heavy farming. So no views on gold, no views on stone, everyone back to the wood and starting to farm heavily. And meanwhile, he has already walled a small portion of his base with buildings. Phosphorus had started to go for the unique units. He did place a castle here on the back between a wood line and between the gold. So for Phosphorus for Stoneplace to keep trying to deny that to his opponent, it's quite a hard task. And even his men-at-arms are losing value because, as I said, the first unique units are actually going to be able to deal with any kind of feudal age things that you are doing. But there might be an exception, and this is exactly what I am here to show you. Stone Bliss is now going for wheelbarrow. The wheelbarrow will significantly improve the quality of the food that you are actually receiving, and he's actually going for multiple stables. Remember that he is Bulgarian, so he does have a few things that are going to be helpful for him to go for this full scout strategy. For example, his upgrades are cheaper. He only paid 75 food here for the armor on his scouts, and he's only paying like 50 food for forging, so a 50% discount on these two upgrades. And now he's making scouts. As you can see, scouts are still fragile. With a few shots, the organ guns can actually best these units. But here's the thing, as he's using like 3 stables and a few buildings to wall himself, Phosphorus will actually be in a lot of trouble because he has to walk all the way to go towards Stoneplace base, and while trying to do that, scouts can actually snipe units that are on the way. So against many ranged units, for example the hillside wagon, the organ guns and so on, scouts can actually trade pretty well, especially when they have better numbers. As you can see, there are only 2 organ guns right there, but well, they are inside. That was something that Phosphorus was that Stoneplace was probably not expecting. But as you can see, he's still developing his economy like big time and jumping in the organ guns with extra numbers. So now, with 3 stables constantly producing scouts, he can actually try to win by raw numbers. So yes, raw number of scouts after some early feudal age aggression. The towers are basically forcing Phosphorus to play more defensive, and they're just giving the information and the map control of the whereabouts of Phosphorus units. The map control also allows Stoneplace to use the best out of the resources from the map, allowing him to even hunt those ostriches here on the middle of the map. With all this map control, all this knowledge and a heavy farming economy, he can actually get a few trades against the organ guns. But please beware, once your opponent has a few unique units, you might not get a clean fight. You might actually have to avoid and actually spot or try to find out good fights. So basically what Stoneplace is doing here is avoiding those fights and trying to go for some counterattacks using his scouts. Honestly, pretty decent approach. He's even managing to raid a few views, and if he does wall like he did here, using like houses, unless he's fighting against some composition like Fire Lancer plus Siege, and that will be like a whole different story, he can actually try to counter this by buying time with his buildings and messing up scouts. Right here, as you can see, he has multiple scouts on the field. I can actually count at least 16 scouts, so even against a strong unit such as the organ gun, raw numbers can actually work. Phosphorus is trying to get him open, trying to micro. There comes the scout, trying to dive over these organ guns. They are splitting themselves and starting to strike the organ guns. So I know organ guns are quite strong, they can actually kill multiple scouts, especially if they do try to find choke points, but if you can deny deny them from using choke points and just overwhelm them with your scouts, you can actually get a pretty clean fight. So there it goes, multiple farms, already going towards like 30 farmers and a constant span of scouts from 3 stables. If you try to play with like a single stable, you are never gonna outnumber the unique units. If you try to go for like at least 2, this can actually work. And if you go for 3, sometimes you can even stop your villager production for a small amount of time to boost your numbers. And right now, Phosphorus is in a huge trouble. There are more than 20 scouts around, and he actually has to mass a lot more units in order to go for the unique units. As you can see, the scouts are even trying to get some fight, but since he's an experienced player, he's denying a clean fight. Phosphorus is developing, going for new lumber camps, taking down enemy buildings, taking down enemy towers, trying to reclaim back his map control. But right now, Stone Place is about to reach the Castle Age, and of course, once in the Castle Age, these units can get a lot more value, and I'm talking about the upgrades. So all of these scouts can actually become a light cavalry and receive an HP boost, an armor boost, even an attack boost. So basically, all of these scouts are gonna scale pretty well here on the next age, especially with the light cavalry approach and also the chain barding armor. And then of course, once in Castle Age, he can use new tools and defenses here from the castle to try to make things a bit more chaotic for Phosphorus. Extra TCs to outboom the all-in guy, extra monasteries to start converting the enemy units, and now he can just make a combination of the light cavalry, a few monks, and of course get all of his upgrades for his already very crafty army there. As you can see, he also separated the wicked scouts from the new ones that did require quite some attention, so he is actually planning to heal all of these light cavalry. A big fight explodes. He is having like 18 of light cavalry to take this fight, and honestly it's just about not getting bad fights. Having this light cavalry unit allows him to run away from the fights and only choose when to pick these fights. And of course, with a lot of light cavalries like this, Phosphorus cannot use the other units that have great synergy with the organ guns, such as the mangonel, such as the siege, and even the organ guns alone are not gonna be going to deal so well with this massive amount of light cavalry. So yes guys, a very strong feudal age pressure here with men-at-arms and towers, and later a transition into full scouts. Is this the way to counter Phosphorus? I think that most of the unique unit strategies can actually die to that, but not the ones where the unique unit is actually pretty good against cavalry. I don't see like this as a counter to Mamelukes, for example. In this scenario, you actually have to do something else. And I also think that this is not going to perform so well against a Jurchen or Korean fast castle using the Fire Lancer plus Mangonel. With double barrack Fire Lancers, you can actually outproduce these scouts, or at least produce enough number to get a fight. And different from the organ gun, a siege unit, well, the Fire Lancer will actually best these scouts in the 1v1, and well, you are probably gonna fail here into outproducing the guy going for the Fire Lancer, since they are a lot cheaper and do not require any investment into farms. Anyway, hope I have given my 2 cents, and hope you guys can actually try out this counter to the Phosphorus strategy.